Good evening, or morning, or afternoon. This is Just a Mama. The date is still January 28th. This is part of my spiritual cartography series. And I've been talking about a lot of things, but right now I'm focusing on your own personal relationship to sort of shift to a more kind of inner place. So I'm sorry I forgot myself to take a breath, inviting you to do the same. A really great way to get centered, a really easy way to get centered is as you inhale, just kind of imagine that when you take a breath, you could breathe horizontally right in, like there was a sieve in the center of your chest, and you could breathe right into it, right into your heart center. Because the real taking a stand for yourself out of seeing the wasteland is to take advantage of people and ways and processes and that have been way prepared for you to have your journey inward easy and authentic, for you to get the basic tools of knowing the difference between authentic and cult and programming and dumbing you down, dumbing us down. So part of taking back our power, taking back your power, is to be willing to sort through, because it really can be quite a catastrophe, as Kaya Pacha was really pointing to in this link that I'm going to send you. If beliefs are all you have, when they shatter like blown glass, I mean, I just keep having this vision of hundreds and thousands of people that just have blown glass beliefs that just get shattered, and they've got no knowledge of their inner terrain, how to navigate it, how to go in there. So the Enneagram is worth about 5-10 years of therapy. It is so accurate, and most people, when they first go into it to look for which of the 9 types are they, many people feel like it can be a pretty weird feeling, because it can feel like someone's crawled into your psyche, into your head, and has just read every thought that you have. But the point of this is to begin for you to get personally connected And you can do this experientially, you can do it in drawing, you can do it in painting, you could do it in 100 million ways. But you can begin to own where your own, what you're able to consciously identify with and as. It could be a process, you could journal it. I am a light worker, I am an astrologer, I am a mother, I am a this, I am a that, all of that thing. And in this diagram that I'm showing you, this comes out of the work of Arnold Mindell and the process work out of Portland, Oregon, the Process Work Center, process-oriented Jungian way of looking at the psyche and evolving through working with the shadow directly. So the way that I learned this map was that we all have a primary process that we can consciously identify as. And then we have a secondary process. And that's the shadow. That's the unconscious process. That's the shadow work. That's your dreams. That's also accidents. It's chronic symptoms. It's also serendipity. And it is relationship challenges. Because where, it's one thing to do this work on an individual level. That can be pretty deep work. But then when you add the other person, because we all have, I'm kind of skipping a few steps, but we all have the dark and the light within us, even though we might not be able to own it. So like in a relationship, a typical one, like for the woman is she's Mrs. Romantic. And then the guy typically is Mr. Practical. Now, what they're both typically unaware of, because that they are thinking of themselves as just simply physical beings, they don't understand themselves at an energetic level, that their processes are overlapping. And in many cases, actually most cases, the Mrs. Romantic was attracted to Mr. Practical because he actually has skills that she's supposed to develop. Same thing with Mr. Practical. He gets attracted to Mrs. Romantic because she's so juicy and happy and fun to be with, and it's like a good match. What they don't realize is that they're supposed to do their shadow work, which is that Mrs. Romantic is supposed to be developing her practical side, and Mr. Practical is supposed to be developing his happy, creative, juicy side. But because many people don't do that, what tends to happen over time is that it sours because it's not authentic. And oftentimes Mrs. Romantic ends up hating Mr. Practical for his practical nature, and Mr. Practical ends up hating Mrs. Romantic because she just doesn't have her feet on the ground. So this is our work. To be able to actually do the owning, the clearing, the releasing, the letting go. And we'll talk about it later, but it's so quick now, especially with the higher divine energies that are coming in and opening to the Spirit of the Christ. So I will leave us with that. And I feel like I've done what I needed to do today. So I can do a rest, except I did need to re-put in front to remind you of the Enneagram and the different archetypes that go with that. All right. Many blessings. Just a mama, over and out.